ask for dissenting opinions, or ask for any opinions, or ask for a dissent, or anything like that from someone else. They are going to get these different ideas and answers from other people, and that may change their mindset completely, and that may completely alter a decision that they may have made, whether that was ethical or unethical. But that is also very important whenever you're thinking about perception and hearing different views of one situation before coming to a decision, regardless of whether you're a leader within an organization or if you're just a regular employee at the bottom. So I'm going to keep the ethical decision-making process of my paper very short and sweet. I focused on 4 steps, which are awareness, understanding, the application or decision, and the post-decision consequences involved. So the first step in the decision-making process is awareness, which is just becoming aware that there is an ethical dilemma or an ethical decision to be made. And from there, that is followed by understanding, which this is your perception part, where this is where you're getting all of your hard facts, you're collecting all of that data, and then you're going to next make up your decision. You're going to make up your mind and figure out what you feel is truly right. And then, of course, the very last is very self-explanatory. The post-decision consequences involved. They're very important to consider. That way, whenever you're faced with a similar situation down the road, you are going to be able to use hindsight and decide whether or not the decision that you made was beneficial, or if it kind of took you 2 steps back, and you can kind of look at that and gauge where you want to be the next time this type of thing arises. So the more important stuff, my personal experience with all of this. I actually have spent the last 2 summers of my college years working for a boat club restaurant as a waitress, and due to that small town environment where I live, nepotism was a huge issue that I faced there. This was an issue from the time I started until the time that I resigned as a waitress. As a waitress at a boat club, there were very simple rules that I had to follow in order to keep employment. Some of these were things like I wasn't allowed to switch shifts with other employees. I had to have my hair up. I couldn't wear it down. I had to wear khaki shorts, and I couldn't wear open-toed shoes, and I couldn't say that I had limited availability. Since the restaurant was only open Thursday through Sunday, if you were working Thursday through Sunday, unless you had another job or you were in school, of course. However, at this restaurant, my boss's girlfriend was the manager, and in her time as a manager, she approximately hired probably 5 or so friends of hers to start working at the boat club, and none of them had any previous experience being servers. So they were very, very new to the job, and the season there picks up very quick, so it's a lot easier when you have veteran waitresses or waiters coming in on staff than it is if you have someone new who needs trained. So whenever they came in, aside from having to pick up more slack as a veteran employee, the issues began whenever these girls would stop following the rules, such as they would come to work with their hair down, they would wear yoga pants whenever they really wanted to work, and then they would also just do things like they would switch shifts constantly all the time. And my favorite part is that they would often say that they couldn't work on Friday or Saturday, and then they would come into the restaurant and show up for free food and drinks on Friday and Saturday, even though they couldn't be there to work. The biggest issue was that my boss and my manager found no issue with this at all, because of course they were her friends, and that was okay with her because of that reason. So I feel that if I would have chose to do the same thing, that there would have been more consequences to my actions. And whenever it comes to the decision-making process in this type of setting, I feel that my manager struggled to use that process correctly. And if she wasn't, I feel that if she was using that correctly, then she may have been ethically blind to the situation, and maybe she was unconsciously making these decisions that she didn't realize were unethical at the time. I just feel that this is where taking a step back to step one within that process and becoming aware as an organization and an individual that there is an ethical decision or an ethical dilemma at hand is very important. That's why sometimes taking it back to that simplest step is very important, because I feel that if my restaurant would have done that as a whole, that they would have saw that they were doing some things that were pretty disrespectful to their employees, to where they actually lost some employees, myself included, just because of the disrespect and the distrust that there is between the managers and the employees, and because of the way that they do things. So to conclude, I feel that nepotism is a very dangerous tactic depending upon the work environment. Within a restaurant, like my personal experience, I feel that it's unacceptable and that it can cause other employees to act out or to act unethically because they feel that there is an unfairness or an unequal playing field within the organization. I feel that although there are many ways to combat ethical blindness and the temporary inability to see the ethical dimension of a decision, I feel it's still a large issue in many organizations, and that taking that step back to step one and becoming aware and admitting that they have a problem and trying to be proactive against it is most important. So ultimately, both of these concepts of ethics in the workplace have a potential to have a negative effect on the ethical decision-making process within the workplace. So I feel that if organizations aren't proactive and they tend to push nepotism or ethical blindness under the rug, then they're going to have worse problems to face down the road. From personal experience, I feel that unless you're running strictly a family-owned business, then there's no room for nepotism to be used in an ethical manner. I also feel that in order to run an ethical business, it's important that businesses are open to the fact that ethical blindness exists and that it can occur within any organization. That way they're prepared to face these issues. So as long as they are monitored correctly, there should be no place for either of them in the workplace, and especially due to the many prevention methods and ways to combat these unethical issues and inadequacies within an organization, as I've stated before. And that is my paper. Thank you.